The tools you'll need for this job are a flathead screwdriver, which you use to pop a wiring harness off, a 1/4-inch ratchet with extensions, a 7mm and a 5.5mm socket. What works really good that I forgot I had until I was putting together the tools after the job is a hex 1/4-inch screwdriver. So the end is a hex, so you can put different bits in it, with a 1/4-inch hex to 1/4-inch square adapter on it, so you can put sockets on it, and some sort of light. I use just my rigid, it's just a light bulb, essentially, just to project light everywhere so you can see everything. So those are the tools you'll be needing. So you want to start by pulling off this plastic trim piece right here. It's got that bolt there, the bolt in the other corner, and then up in the back there, it actually tucks up inside something else. So you have to pull that out and make sure when you put that back in, you get it seated properly. On the back side of this piece of trim, there is this piece of the wiring stuck there. You just have to pinch those two bits together, and that'll come off here, and you completely remove the plastic. So once you have this plastic trim piece off, there's your blower motor right here. Here's that piece of wiring you just removed from the plastic. So there's that connector, which I already started pulling out. You just pop it out with a flathead. And then there is 1, 2, and in the back there, if I can get you to it, 3. So there's those 3 bolts that hold the blower motor in, and then as long as you're mindful of the wiring, you should be able to drop this right out without removing any of the other wiring. So as you can see, I'm not really replacing this blower motor. There's some stuff in here that got brought in by, I'm guessing, a mouse. So it's making it slightly vibrate as it's spinning. As you can see, it got chewed on a little bit on the end there. And if I look up inside, you can see where it got all chewed on up in there. So there's obviously something in here chewing on that. So I'm going to pull any other crap out that's up there, clean this motor up, and put it back in. Make sure when you're putting it back in, you don't pinch any of the wires in, and make sure that this vent tube, or I think it's a cooling tube, an air cooling tube for the motor itself, ends up on that thing. So just make sure it seats all the way to make sure, I guess, that it cools right. As you can see, I don't have the bolts in yet, but it wants to hold itself up there. As I push it, it stays. That's a sign that that is seated properly. So just be mindful of that. All you got to do from here on out is get all the bolts in, plug in that connector, and then put on the plastic trim panel. So I've got the motor back up in there, all the way screwed in. Sometimes it can be tough to line up all those holes and get them to actually thread in. So if they don't seem like they want to thread in, just move the whole lineup around a little bit, and you'll find the little metal inserts that they'll screw into. So I've got that in. I hooked the wires back up, so I put the plug back in, and now all that's left is to put that plastic trim panel back on. Make sure when you do that you hook this back through it, otherwise it might rattle around and you'll just hear an annoying plastic hitting plastic noise. So now that I've got the plastic trim panel back on, that is the job done. After that, just make sure that you turn the key on your vehicle, turn the blower motor on for your climate control. Just make sure that everything works as it should, and then you're done. So that is how you install a blower motor on a 2002 Bravada, Trailblazer, or Envoy.